Hey, hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. Today, I am joined by YouTuber Philamon. Phil, how you doing?
Hey, hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
Great to have you here, man. Great to have you here. Before we actually start off with the topic of this video, guys, please check out Phil's channel. Go check out his YouTube channel. He's made awesome videos concerning Warframe, The Division. He's an excellent content creator with quality content. Please go check him out and support him. Where can people find you, Phil?
Basically, if you just go onto YouTube and you search for Philamon Grundy,
Philamon Grundy, everybody.
it will bring me up automatically. Yeah, they won't find anyone else. You'll automatically get directly to me.
Ah, clever, clever.
I guess it's a I guess it's a distinctive name. So
Good choice, good choice. Link will also be in the description and in the comment section, everybody. Well, today, Phil, I have you here because, we want to talk about video games, but a unique topic. And a unique topic me and Phil have brought up, discussed, and we'd like to share with all of you is the value of video games and making your purchase count depending on your economic situation, let's say. Phil, I know you are in a similar and yet kind of different situation economically when it comes to purchasing any sort of media of entertainment. So, why don't you fill us in a little?
all right, well, basically, as well you would know, but the viewers wouldn't know. I'm not from the U.S. and you can hear it in my accent.
Plot
So,
twist!
yeah, not from the U.S., not from Canada. Eh.
Oh, you had to go there.
Yeah, it's a boot. So,
Oh, yeah, you know what's all
and
about. You know what's all about.
yeah, not for any of the large countries. Actually, from a small island in the Caribbean, and it's not Jamaica. Surprisingly, everyone thinks the Caribbean is Jamaica, but it's an island called Barbados. And yeah, for us, we don't work with the same dollar value that you get in the US. Our dollar is 2 to 1 to the US dollar, so two of our dollars to one US dollar. So for most people, when they see a game and it's like $60 for a new title, they're like, "Yeah, great, I can snatch that up." I mean, they're gonna pick and choose because $60 is still a fair amount of money.
Mm.
But for me now, I have to look at that and say that's $60. I have to multiply that by two.
Mm-hmm.
That's $120 for me.
Jesus.
Yeah,
So
and
if you want to play a brand new video game, anything AAA, like, it is a huge investment. It's a huge investment,
yep,
and you really have to, well, pick and choose and be very picky about what you decide to play.
yeah, and like because I have like a background in design, I use like a lot of different software, and I can look at software and like there might be software that's like 90 something bucks US or whatever. And I look at it and I'm like, wow, I could buy some software that I could use for years, or I could buy a video game. So it's kind of like, how do you equate the value, of what you're going to use and do? So I usually get most of my games on Steam sales.
Oh, God bless Steam sales.
Yeah.
So with Steam sales, like, how many AAA games have you been able to obtain at good prices?
I can obtain a lot of AAA games, but the only issue with that, and I'm trying to be a YouTuber, is that I have to wait until the games pretty much get heavily discounted. So,
Hmm.
and because of my, like before, when I was working full time, it was okay. I could say, well, 50% off a game, yeah, I can buy that, or 30% off. But now I have to look for like really deep cuts because I don't know when my next paycheck is going to come in because I do a lot of like freelance work, photography and design work, and people don't pay you on time.
YouTube doesn't always pay you on time too, so believe me, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
So, how often do you buy a full price AAA game at $120 in your case? Like, how often? How often do you do that compared to getting games cheap on Steam?
Honestly, very rarely. And it's probably because I bought full price AAA games and then got burnt, as in the game didn't deliver on what it was supposed to be. And then
Oh, like, can you give us an example?
well, the prime example of that, and one of the worst, was buying Mass Effect 3 from from
Oh,
Origin.
oh shit! Things just got real up in here. Okay, I need to hear this. What about Mass Effect 3? Do you was like not up to your standards? Like, what made you feel unsatisfied with your purchase? I need to hear this.
Well, basically, you have to go back a little bit further than that. Like all my friends were playing Mass Effect, the first Mass Effect game. I never got into it. I just sat down and watched them play, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it looked like a fun game. Maybe I'll play it." And then I would say probably 5 months before Mass Effect 2 came out, I saw it on the first Mass Effect on sale on Steam for like $9.99 US. So I said, they seem to be having fun. They keep playing it. They're bringing out a second part to it. Let me give it a try and see. So I tried it out and I was like, damn, this game is good. I should have played this ever since. so, so what happened is that I played the crap out of it. A friend of mine was visiting another friend in the US. And then at that time I was like, hey, you gonna be there when Mass Effect 2 comes out? He's like, yeah. He's like, you getting a copy of it? Yeah, bring me back a copy too. So that was one of my first, not first, but that was one of the games I bought at full price. And it was like a retail physical, a box copy, nothing digital. Because
Oh
I
yeah,
don't think it
this
was
was
on.
long before digital like started to take over. So yeah, it
Hmm?
makes sense to get a physical copy. I still have my physical copy of
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2. Anyways, apologies. I've been a jackass throughout this video, interrupting you consistently. I'm so sorry. Please continue.
Right. No need to apologize. And
I'm Canadian, I have to. And I just interrupted you again. God damn it.
so yeah, basically I played love the Mass Effect. I love the storyline where the choices you made impacted on the game. Got the second part. It was a different kind of game than the first one. More of a kind of, it felt more run and gun cover shooting type of system. The other one had cover system, but it felt more like what's that game that they're remastering and bringing out again now?
Gears of War, Uncharted.
Gears of War. Yeah, it felt a lot more like Gears of War than the first Mass Effect. But it was good. I liked it. Some people didn't like it. That was a very small percentage, but I really liked it. And then the way that the second one ended, I was like, I gotta see the third one. So when the third one was coming out, I did the unforgivable thing of, and I don't do this anymore since then, and I never did it before that. I never liked doing it. I pre-ordered the game
Oh.
because you
Oh,
could only get
okay.
it from the Origin. So I pre-ordered it. And the horrible thing about it was that for some reason, Origin was only showing me the price in pounds, UK.
Oh.
It wouldn't give me a US price. So I had to pay a
That's
little bit extra
Oh.
because our dollar value is, no, that's 3 to 1 for the pound.
That's
So,
wow. Screw you, EA and Origin. Why would you? That's ridiculous. I'm so sorry, Phil.
yeah. But that happens though because like we're in the Caribbean, we get lumped into the Latin American region for some reason. Don't ask me why. I don't speak Spanish. Never learned it. Never been involved in it. And like if I have like Netflix or try to do stuff online, I always get bumped to the Latin American version of certain sites. Not Steam
Wow.
though. For some reason, Steam works fine. There's a lot of things that work perfectly okay, but a lot of things just switch me to Spanish, and I've never spoken Spanish in my life. Been to Puerto Rico a few times, but yeah, I usually try to find people that can speak English when I needed to get directions.
Oh man, I'm so sorry, man.
But
I'm so sorry.
but but yeah, that's deviating from the topic. So yeah, got Mass Effect 3 from pre-ordering it, and then I saw that there was this day one DLC where the one of the main characters in the game, sorry, one of the main characters that was talked about from the beginning of the game, the Protheans, was a character that you could play, but it was a DLC.
Oh
I was like,
yes.
but how could you put such a pivotal character as a DLC?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that
You know?
sparked a lot of controversy.
Yeah. And then there was the whole issue of how it ended, and all the endings were basically the same thing with just different colors, and it was very unsatisfying ending. So I never pre-ordered the game before or after that. And playing games at full price, especially AAA titles, was really not something that I wanted to do. And seeing how a lot of AAA titles are like messing up their games now, and Steam had to put in stuff where you can refund your
Refund.
games.
Yes, took them
Yeah,
goddamn long enough to add a refund system. How long has Steam been a service? I don't know. Almost a bloody. What has it been, a decade? I think it's been more than a decade. I need to
it's
check
been
my
more
bloody
than a
facts.
decade.
Jesus, and and all that time, not a single form of a refund system until now. Ridiculous, utterly ridiculous. Now I got to ask you, Phil. You say Mass Effect 3 was a disappointment to you, and it burned you. Like, was it because it wasn't worth the value of the money? Was it because you didn't have fun with the game, or was it because there was just so much in it that disappointed you on a personal level?
Because it disappointed me on a personal level, and what they built the game up to be, they completely squashed that. Like the game was supposed to be about you have options. You can choose to be, renegade. You can choose to be I can't remember what the other side was, but
Paragon.
a positive, yeah, paragon. And then in the last, and the decisions you made affected, if people lived or died on your team, or even if you died as well. And in the last one, then it just kind of played out like a movie. It's like, well, these things are gonna happen, and you have no control over it. So it's like, but why did I spend all this time playing and replaying and getting the best, end game result to go into the third game, and then it was like, oh well, basically you can't use Rex. You're not gonna fight with Liara. You're gonna have a different set of people, and oh, this person is gonna die. So regardless of what you do, people die. So it's like, but I would like to have the option of saving them. I mean, some people you were able to save, but it didn't feel like the first two games in terms of being having options and being able to control or manipulate situations.
I hear you. I hear you, and I humbly disagree with you. I love Mass Effect 3 to death, but I understand where you're coming from completely. But this leads me into the question, Phil. Like, so it disappointed you on a personal level, but was Mass Effect 3, like, it wasn't worth the money to you personally because it didn't give you that personal fulfillment you wanted, but based on the amount of content, if we were looking at it from, let's say, an objective standpoint, from
Hmm.
the value of the game, the amount of content in Mass Effect 3, was it worth the money? Do you think it was worth the money in your opinion? In that regard, in terms of content.
Content wise, I mean, if you were gonna judge a game by content, like the amount of hours you get out of a game, time you spend, then that's it. Yeah, it was $60 worth. If you want to just look at it solely on that, but to me, a game has to be more than just, oh, I can get, you know, 8, 10 hours or however many hours or 40 hours, if it's an RPG game of gameplay. But if I get 40 hours and 30 out of that 40 hours is just fluff, and only 10 hours is actual enjoyment from what they put into the game, then I count it as a disappointment.
I completely understand that, and I agree with you there. I understand where you're coming from, Phil. So that also leads me to ask you, in this day and age of, like, objectivity and subjectivity and trying to find a balance between the two in terms of, like, opinion, fact, in terms of what you want to purchase, with AAA games, with indie games, with the market in terms of the video game industry as it is right now, how would you advise people to pick and choose what to pay and what to play? Now, everybody's going to have a different opinion on this, but how do you go around picking and choosing what games are worth your money?
Well, basically, I think the game has to suit your play style. So I wouldn't go pick up a first-person shooter if you don't like first-person shooter games. If you don't like them and it doesn't really appeal to you and you're not gonna have fun, then no matter what price you get the game at, you could get it at $5 on Steam at a heavy discount, or you can get it for $60 brand new. If you're not gonna enjoy the game, then it's gonna be a failure for you. You're not gonna like it.
So
So
even
I
if
think,
IGN gave it like a 10 out of 10, like, it would still, like, even if everybody's saying, "Oh, you got to play this game, you got to play this game," if you think the game just isn't for you, then you shouldn't get it. Like, do your research.
yeah, exactly. I think you need to do your research, because someone telling you that the game is good doesn't mean it's gonna be good for you. Because a game can be enjoyable for 90% of the people, but for you, it doesn't fulfill that, I guess, void that you want filled when you want to be entertained by a game. So you might look at it and say, no, I don't think it's worth $60, but you might play it for $5 and say, well, yeah, it was a little bit of fun. I could enjoy it for $5, but it's still worth $60 to, a majority of people.
Ah, okay.
So I find video game reviews, which is like why I'm not really a fan of like how IGN does it, because they give
No one
a score.
is.
Yeah, they give a score at the end, and it's like you're gonna give a score based on your. If you give me a score is based on your opinion. Same thing with like Metacritic. That's why that's like buying stuff on Amazon. When I buy stuff on Amazon, I look and see how many people gave it 5 stars, how many gave it four, how many gave it, going down the list. And then I usually look at, all right, let me see the 4-star rating. Anybody gives it five is either smitten. Like I said, let's bring it back to video games. If you give a game 10 out of 10, you usually are a fanboy of the game, or you were paid to give a good review.
Really?
That's it. Yeah, no game should get 10 out of 10. There's no game that can get 10 out of 10 because nothing can be 100% perfect.
That's
There has to
true.
be a bug or flaws, something in there that doesn't work properly in general. So if you give
Exactly.
something 9 out of 10, if you give something 9 out of 10, you're like, wow, this game just kind of knocked me out the park. 9 out of 10. But the reason I gave it 9 was I didn't give it 10 was because, and then you gave me, a few reasons why the game didn't quite live up to a full capacity. But then you say, well, some of this might be nitpicking. Then I see your review as being a bit more honest. So usually I go between like if you give it like 9 to maybe 4. But if you give it a score of 3 to 1 out of 10, then basically you were not going to enjoy this game from the
Okay.
get-go. There was no point that you were ever going to like this game, no matter how good this game is. So
Okay.
your personal, no matter if you try to separate yourself from it, your personal influence and your experiences are going to impact on the game.
Always. But that brings up an interesting question in my mind. Phil, what do you think about this? A lot like these scores, these number scores, these 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, where it be stars or numbers or whatever. Can you really can you quantify your opinion in a number rating? Is that really even possible? Like, I understand exactly where this idea spawned from and why this is a thing, but how much
Hmm.
you personally enjoy something. Oh shoot,
Hmm.
better edit that out. Don't want any people getting the wrong idea there. Future me, be sure to edit that out. Don't you dare leave this in,
Yep.
future me. This won't be funny. Oh God. Anyways, depending on who you are, you're always going to have your own personal opinion. But can you quantify your opinion in a number, in a score? Do you think that's reasonable, possible? Like, I have my own opinion on the matter, but what's yours?
It's possible to do it, but it's going to be flawed
Flawed in what way?
because, but I mean, at the end of the day, if it's your opinion, it's not a fact.
Yes.
So that's why, like, when I did one of my recent videos, when Warframe had Operation Raccoon. Now I know there are people that love Conclave and they enjoy it. I don't like Conclave. It never appealed to me. I've played PvP games. I even played Overwatch recently, and even with having lag and not being able to hit people because they're not in the position where I'm shooting, I still enjoy the crap out of Overwatch. But
To be
I
fair, it's
don't
hard
like
to
Conclave.
not enjoy Overwatch. God damn it.
Well, unless you're, a certain YouTuber
Oh?
who will go unnamed right now, Jazzer.
Oh. Oh.
But anyway,
Oh, he's gonna fucking kill us. Okay, move on quickly.
right. But yeah, I can enjoy PvP in games, but the PvP in Warframe, it doesn't appeal to me because it's not really balanced and it feels like it's added on. But something like Overwatch, it was built around PvP. That's what it's supposed to be. So, or Team Fortress 2, which was a game that I played for years. Actually Team Fortress 2 was the game that got me onto using Steam.
Oh.
So, and I played the crap out of that for probably a few years. And I know about PvP. I play PvP. I've experienced it all the time, but I dislike Warframe's PvP with a passion. But
Oh.
everything else in Warframe I enjoy. But when they did the Operation Wrathum and brought it in, they brought, the PvP elements into the PvE side of the game. I completely disliked it. And that's why when I did a review for it, I stated clearly at the beginning, this is my opinion. And in case you didn't notice it, I'm telling you that this is my opinion. So I repeated myself. So when people go and say, "Oh man, but that means you just don't like PvP and blah blah blah," and that, I was like, "But you know that this is an opinion piece. This is not me stating facts about the game like in my other videos."
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I think that given a, a score rating, like giving it 9 out of 10 or whatever, is affected by your opinion. So I don't like reviews that do that. I prefer a review to say, well, this is what I liked about the game. No, this is what I didn't really like about the game. And this is coming from this perspective. Now, here are the good and the bad things about the game, how it operates, how it runs, if it crashes, those things, you list all the facts. A review like that, that's in depth, I'm going to watch and I'm going to take away more from it, as opposed to you saying, well, the game was fun. Um, I enjoyed everything from the beginning to the boss, and I'm going to give this 8 out of 10. You
Mm-hmm.
told me nothing. Told me nothing, and 8 out of 10 doesn't describe what works and doesn't work in the game.
Oh, yeah, you make a good point. You can't judge how much you're going to enjoy a game based on a number someone else gave it. You need to have those nitty-gritty details. And speaking of which, in order to determine like what games for you and what you would spend your money on in your situation, because as you said, you have to be very picky and choosy when what money you spend your games on. Now, you've said before, like, look at the genre. If it's not a genre for you, then don't get. If you don't like first-person shooters, don't get first-person shooters. But besides genre, what other details would you recommend people looking into to basically seal the deal on whether or not they should spend their hard-earned cash on a game or not? AAA or indie
Well,
otherwise.
yeah. Well, from a PC gamer perspective, because that's what I am. I don't own any consoles.
Master
One key thing
Race!
that I always, I'm not gonna say master race, but at the end of the day, a console is basically a PC, with limited options of what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
So, so with PC gaming, I always look at, all right, was this game initially created for consoles? Because game game companies and game developers are just constantly being pushed towards making console gaming. So the first thing they do is they develop the game for consoles and then they port it to PC. Very few people do both at the same time and try to get everything in sync. So what I like to look at is who did the port for a game. So because the game could be great, run perfectly on console, and then they could bring it over to PC and they could have a Batman Arkham Knight on their
Oh,
hands.
yeah.
Because
I love
up to
that
this
game.
day, I still want to play Arkham Knight, but
But can't.
I don't want to play it on the PC because
Oh, God.
it's absolute rubbish.
No one wants
So you
to.
see, yeah, so see that's where the facts come into play, and how I would choose games or how games like should be reviewed, because you have to look at, and then you also have to take note of who's making these bad ports too. Because whenever I've been burnt in the past, I look at who did the port for a game, and then if I'm going to look at another game, I say, oh, this game looks good. Oh, it was done for me in the console, and then it was ported to PC. Who did? Oh, this same company? No, no, I don't buy it.
Ah, so
And
what you would
chances are,
recommend is look at the companies, look at the people behind the
yeah,
product, look at the people making the
yeah,
product, not just the details on the game, but the people actually making the game.
yeah. Because no matter how good a game is, if it doesn't run properly, it's gonna frustrate the crap out of you.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
I feel you there.
sometimes it's not a matter of game not running good on a PC. It might just not run good on certain PCs. Like there was the game Rage,
Oh
and I
yes.
bought that. I bought that when I had my older laptop, and I was like, "This game looks great," and people were saying, "Yeah, it's great on PC," and I bought it. But then I didn't even see, and I bought it like heavily discounted, and I didn't see that people were saying if you have an AMD card, it's not going to run properly. I was like, "But
Oh.
who develops a game and it only runs on NVIDIA?" But my laptop had an AMD card, so I can
Mm-hmm.
play it now because I have an NVIDIA card in this laptop. But I just haven't gotten back to it. But that doesn't mean it isn't a good game. You see, these all these little things you need to investigate and do that most people are not going to take the time to look at. And I think those are the kind of things that should go into reviews for games.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, Phil?
Because for me, those are the things that actually impact on if I'm gonna buy a AAA title or not.
Exactly. I agree with you, Phil. I agree with you. You bring up some interesting, introspective. Is that a goddamn word? Let me get my dictionary. Never mind, don't have time for this recording. Anyways, Phil, I'd love to keep talking with you, go on this subject, on and on and on, but if I have a feeling if we keep going, we're gonna be here for a few hours, and I'm sure all of you watching at home may want to see something else or have other things to do. And I'm sure all of you watching at home can't stay for a 5-hour video, so we're going to end it here. Phil, thank you so much, so much for coming on. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I certainly enjoyed myself. Apologies for me being an absolutely terrible host and interrupting you consistently. Very sorry about that.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. And you didn't interrupt in any negative way whatsoever.
You're too kind. You're too kind. All of you, please check out Philamon Grundy's channel. Link in the description and in the comment section. Love talking to you, Phil. Thank you so much for coming on. Please support Phil, everybody. Any closing words?
Basically, have fun, play the games you want. Don't pre-order games. It's a bad decision. Wait for people like Gamertron and myself to do reviews. More so Gamertron than me, because if it's a new game, he's gonna get his hands on it way before me. So look for people to do the reviews, and then
But also,
then go grab the game and
exactly,
play it yourself.
exactly. Always be sure to keep an open mind when purchasing or examining any and all video games. Again, Phil, because that's a thing. That's your name. Thank you so much for coming on. See you all later.